The Big Short deals with the economic disaster which affected the United States and also the world in 2008. It follows a band of misfits who saw the writing on the wall and decided to make a quick buck in the process. The Big Short explains the film's plot with a wry sense of cynical amusement at how the whole capitalist system imploded on itself thanks to greed. The banking institutions, the housing market, and the hedge funds were all part of a bubble which was unable to contain all the high-risk dealings of subprime loans being carried out. Michael Burry is the man who tips the first domino when he points out the truth that nobody else seems to see. He's laughed at when he goes to several banks and bets against the housing market. But soon, a few others join in. Jared Vennett approaches hedge fund manager Mark Baum and his small team to the profits that could be made, and they make their move as well. In the meantime, two investors named Charlie and Jamie enlist their old mentor, Ben Rickert, to help them get a foot in the door so that they can take advantage of the situation as well. As the film goes on, the protagonists waver in between being snarky wisecrackers who are in on the joke and a bunch of Cassandras who are conflicted about all the money they'll be making in the face of so much economic disaster. And in between the story, characters regularly break the fourth wall to talk to us, and even cut to celebrities brought in to explain all the jargon so we can at least try to keep up. The main cast is made up of Christian Bale, Ryan Gosling, Brad Pitt, Steve Carell, John Magaro, and Finn Wittrock. Everyone does a great job with their characters, and I give credit to Bale for playing a character that's very different from his usual ones. But I would say the best actor of the film would have to be Carell. Mark Baum is easily the most emotional and sympathetic character of the group. Wounded by a great tragedy that happened in his life, he spends a large portion of the film looking more and more horrified and angry by what's going on, until finally all he feels is immense sadness and guilt for his own actions in these events. And I think this is where the movie falls a bit short, no pun intended. We're taken into this complicated world where it's perfectly legal to gamble with other people's loans and assets and make a huge profit for yourself while doing so. Rarely do we get the spotlight on actual people who suffered, except to make a few jokes. And while a couple of the main characters do feel guilty for their money, it's still a fact that these investors and hedge fund managers are all players in this game, rubbing shoulders with the very people that they despise. People who sneer and laugh at the idea that they're out of control. Charlie and Jamie have a moment of celebration when it looks like they're going to be rich, before Ben shames them by reminding them that people will lose their jobs and savings in all this upcoming mess. He's right, but of course Charlie and Jamie fail to remind Ben that he's the very reason that they're making any kind of money off of it in the first place. I won't pretend like I know how all of this works. Completely, at least. I mean, even with the movie spoon-feeding info to me, I still ended up feeling overwhelmed. But after speaking with a couple of friends who did know what was going on, and reading this interesting article about it, I realize now that this movie does simplify the issues even more than I thought it already did. Now, of course, this is for the sake of a 2-hour movie, so I guess I should only expect so much. All that aside, The Big Short is a good film. It's got dry humor, it's got a fast pace, it's very informative, and it also gives room for the emotional impact of just how the system fails to reward anyone except the rich, and continues to bail them out of any sort of real comeuppance, or, God forbid, some actual regulation.